everyone. Welcome to our IDP Australia Onshore webinar. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Amrita Chauhan, IDP Onshore Australia, New Zealand Destination Manager supporting our onshore IDP students. We work very closely with our IDP offshore teams to make sure our international students have a seamless onshore study experience once they arrive in Australia. And not only this, we also support our students to finish their onshore study, guide them with their visa and career journey as well. Now, moving on to the next slide, I would like to introduce our presenters first before we start our presentation. On the panel today, we have our country director, Jane Lee, destination manager, Amrita Chauhan, that's me, Alice Kwan, senior migration expert from IDP Melbourne. We have Catherine McHugh, sales product leads. We have Neetu Hunjan, our sales and operation manager, Sydney. Summer Fang, our senior counselor from IDP Melbourne. Now, moving on to the next slide, I would like to invite our country director, Jane Lee, who has joined our webinar and would like to share a welcome message for all of you. Jane, over to you.
Thank you, Amrita, and thank you to everyone for joining our webinar today. We've been really looking forward to this moment for a long time, and we cannot wait to welcome back our students to this incredible country down under in the coming weeks. Today, we're joined by our amazing team of education counselors and migration agents, experts from across Australia, who will take you through the latest updates on the return of international students and what it means to you. I want to take this opportunity to let our incoming students know that our onshore team will be here for you every step of the way. Today, we'll cover all the important aspects of entering and studying in Australia, and that include travel restrictions, vaccination, health insurance, internship opportunities, and so much more. We're extremely excited to welcome each one of you. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and I will be more than happy to assist you. Thank you. And back to you, Amrita.
Thank you so much, Jane. As Jane mentioned, we are super excited and ready to welcome you onshore. These last 2 years have been so tough, and it's time to bring forward that fresh energy and experience what this beautiful destination has to offer to all our international students. A great lifestyle, safe environment, welcoming communities, food, music, dance, and most importantly, globally recognized quality education. Now, in terms of latest news on pause of travel till 15th December, I would like to highlight on the basis of medical advice provided by Chief Medical Officer of Australia, government has taken temporary decision to pause the travel to safely reopen Australia to our international students from 1st December until 15th December. Now, the temporary pause will ensure Australia can gather the information, need to better understand the variant and be better prepared before 15 December to welcome all our international students. So IDP encourages all our international students to contact their education provider, IDP offshore team or onshore teams, depend upon where you are located, and airlines to discuss the changes and travel arrangements. This means, as per Australian government, travel will be resumed from 15 December. So be ready. We will keep you posted with latest information on social channels. We are quite hopeful that the restriction will be eased out by mid-December, and we will be ready to welcome all of you. Now, if you have any questions, please write your questions in Q&A section, and we will answer those questions at the end of the presentation. And in case if we don't have any information related to travel, we will get back to you. So please do leave your contact number and email address in the comment section. Now, moving on to the next slide, topics we will be covering today, IDP onshore team and services, little bit about onshore teams, what we do here. So once you arrive, you know where to locate, who to contact. We will also talk about Australia state-wise updates on vaccination status, travel updates, accepted vaccination, so you are aware about all the rules and regulation in terms of traveling, what to pack and expect on arrival, any sort of documents you need to carry, latest visa updates, post-study work rights. There has been recent changes in post-study work rights, so our migration expert will talk about those changes. health and well-being support, insurance information, which is going to be quite important once you arrive on shore. We will also talk about pre-departure sessions and our welcome pack, which we have exclusively prepared for our international students. So we'll talk about how to access that pack once you arrive on shore. Career counseling and migration support, which I'm sure you will be needing once you arrive on shore. Upcoming events, how to involve in these events, and then onshore IDP contact details and a special guide which is prepared for all of you to guide you once you arrive on shore and settle down in this lovely destination. Now, a little bit about our IDP offices, moving to the next slide. We have 6 offices across Australia. We are in Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, Parramatta, Sydney, and Perth. Parramatta and Sydney are in NSW, 2 of our offices, then followed by Perth. Moving on to the next slide, you will see the address and contact details there. And you can see a picture of our lovely Sydney office in the background. And that's our Sydney office as well. You can see in the background, virtual background. Moving on to the next slide. Now, we do provide value-added services to our students. Our own IDP students, network students serviced by our offshore offices. Once you arrive on shore, we make sure you are looked after very well. If there is any support you need, any help you need in regards to visa extensions, accommodation, further study, IELTS, CV writing, we are there to support you. Quickly about our onshore services. Moving on to the next one, Kath. All right, so as you can see on the screen, we support with free counseling services. Onshore friendly counselors will help you, support you with your next course search, or if you have any questions around your studies. Our counselor speaks range of different languages, so it's easy to connect with all our counselors. We also have frequent in-house information sessions. So if you have to speak to any education providers, you just let us know. And we do run these sessions where clients will come and will speak to you directly. Then regular social engagement events, which is so important to settle down in the destination. So we have movie nights, cherry picking, dance nights, festivals, celebrations, everything to bring together our international student community. We have regular career seminar to understand Australian job market and trends. We also run CV writing workshops, and we also support with internship options as well, which is so important in current time. So once you arrive on shore, you are studying, you need any support with your internships, projects, all you need to do is contact IDP and we will guide you with that part. Free student visa services. Again, you don't have to stress out about your visa extensions. We will be able to help you. We also assist high school students with their further admissions towards the university side, and we make it easy with the IELTS preparation as well. We support in booking and provide supporting materials if you do need to take IELTS test for further visa extensions. We also support with health insurance advice, policy renewal, accommodation assistance, which is going to be so important when you're arriving on shore. We also help with payment solutions. Quite a few students would like to study further, and if they have any financial constraint, onshore team will definitely help you to suggest you some solutions in terms of loan support. And then we also help with banking services. Lastly, most important, migration services. Nothing like that when you have our own IDP migration experts guiding you with further post-study work visa migration process to make sure that you are guided properly. The process can be complicated and overwhelming, but our IDP MARA experts make it easier for you. Moving on to the next slide. Now have a look on our MARA team. So on the screen, next one, Kath, on the screen, you can see our lovely migration experts, Alice, who is with us today. She's going to present. Alice works with IDP Melbourne team. Then we have got Janet with IDP Sydney team. Baron works with IDP Queensland team, and Shiva IDP Adelaide team. So we have got MARAs across all the states that will support you once you arrive on shore with your post-study work visa, migration process, working visa process, any information you need in that side. Now let's have a look on our lovely onshore team. So the first one is Sydney. You can see there a Darling Harbour Bridge. Again, a great place to be, great beaches. If you move to the next one, Kath, That's our lovely Sydney team. You can see on the right side contact details of Sydney and Parramatta office. And again, all our counselor speaks range of different languages. You can connect with the counselor and have an information if you need any help with your visas and courses. Moving on to the next one, Vibrant Melbourne. In the picture, you can see Federation Square. That's the centralized place in the city where people come along, they talk, food, dance, and there is an open screen where you can watch cricket, tennis, and whatnot. A great place to be. On the next slide, you can see our lovely Melbourne team, and contact details are given on the right side. Now let's move on to the next one, Brisbane. Tropical weather, lovely beaches, great vibe, and they have got Gold Coast, which has got really nice adventure theme park. So again, great place to be. That's our lovely Brisbane team. And you can see on the right side our contact details. So if you're arriving to Brisbane, we got you covered. Then we have next one, Adelaide team. Adelaide, warm Adelaide, a 20-minute city known for its regional nice lifestyle and great community. On the next slide, you will see our Adelaide team. That's our Adelaide team and our contact details. Then moving on to the next one, our Perth, Western Australia, wealth of natural resources, best of the sandy beaches and rivers to explore. And on the next slide, that's our lovely Perth team, and contact details are given for your reference. Lastly, picturesque New Zealand, covered with beautiful mountains, and that's our lovely Auckland team. If you are going towards New Zealand side, we have got IDP team to support you there as well. Now I will hand it over to my colleague Summer, who will cover the travel and state updates. Summer, over to you.
Thank you so much, Amrita. Yes, so like Amrita mentioned before, my name is Summer, and I'm the Senior Education Counselor from IDP Melbourne office. So in the next few slides, I will show you guys the COVID updates, vaccination updates, and what you need to prepare to come to Australia. As I can see, there are many Q&A, regarding to this session as well. So hopefully I can already answer those, few questions as well. So the first thing I would like to show is how to find the updated information. So because the COVID update changes quite often in a short notice, so you can actually find the updated information on covid19.homeaffairs.gov.au, which you can also see on the presentation. And also because this session is recorded, so you can review on our Facebook page, or you can quickly take a photo in your phone, then you can review the website link for further update information in the future. So on the website, as you can see, there's a section particularly for the international students. So if you click into it, you can find 4 sections, including international student arrival plan, student visa, temporary student visa, and travel arrangement for vaccinated students. So in the next few slides, I will mainly talk about the COVID-19 vaccination updates and state travel updates, as well as what you should prepare for travel and pack. So moving on to the next slides, it's the COVID updates so far in Australia. So what is the vaccination rate in Australia now? So I checked the data this morning, and the government already has published until yesterday for the data. So as you can see on the graph, Victoria, New South Wales, ACT have achieved above 90% of the fully vaccinated rate, followed by Tasmania, which is 88%, and South of Australia, 82%. Whereas Western Australia, Queensland, as well as Northern Territory are nearly also reaching 80% of the fully vaccinated rate. And because of the high vaccinate rate in each state, I think this is such a good news for our international students and Australian residents like us as well. As I'm living in Melbourne, and the high vaccination rate makes me actually feel quite safe and secured to actually continue my daily work and daily life in Australia. And the Australian government and the community are so welcoming the international students to come back. For example, like Victorian government recently issued 40,000 Melbourne and travel vouchers, restaurant discount and dining vouchers to actually encourage us to go outside to enjoy the life. And yesterday, IDP Melbourne office also organized a student cherry picking event, which is a physical event, and it's quite popular for the student to join as well. So we are not requiring to wear the mask if you are outside now. So it's actually great to see our students mingling together, bringing some cherries home, joining our fun activities. So this is such an amazing and safe environment. And this is a wonderful time for our students to connect with each other. So I think that's why we can actually see we IDP put our international students in center. Catherine, can you actually go back to the next slide, to the previous slide? Yeah, thank you. And actually we quite work closely together with the education providers to create a safe environment for you to actually come back to Australia. And as you can see, the vaccination rate is still increasing. So it's just a matter of time for the higher rate. Just so please stay there, and it's going to happen very soon. Okay, the next slide, I'm going to talk about which Catherine already showed it to you guys. So this is the vaccination updates. So I actually divided this part for 3 different types of the students. So for the first type of student is that if you are overseas at the moment and would like to travel back to Australia, what kind of vaccination that it's actually approved from TGA. And the second type of student is the student who are actually in Australia. And I will explain that what kind of vaccines that we've approved for use in Australia. And the third one is for the student who want to come back to their home country and meet their family as well. So what kind of things that they need to pay attention to. So let's look at the first left column first. Yeah. So as of 1st of November 2021, Australia considers you to be fully vaccinated if you have completed a TGA approved or recognized vaccine. So TGA stands for Therapeutic Goods Administration, which is the Australia government. So this includes mixed dose. So I have listed the current vaccines and dosage, which are accepted for traveling to Australia. So I believe that the lists are still growing in the future. So in order to keep yourself updated, please visit the link below, which I already put it on the presentation. Now let's look at the middle column. So this is for the students who have already been in Australia. Vaccinations that we proved for use in Australia are Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Janssen. And I actually received some inquiries from the students that, hey, Summer, where can I actually get tested for the COVID-19? So I also put those link on the presentation so that you can find the location in Australia. And my colleague, Catherine, will also explain more about the information that where you can get tested in Australia as well in the next few slides. Okay, and for the third column is for the student who wants to go back home and want to depart from Australia. So you need to show the airline staff for your fully vaccinated certificate. So the ICVC will be provided in PDF format for you to print out or hold electronically on your phone. So why do I actually highlight the fully vaccinated? This is just because the international certificate is just a record of your COVID-19 vaccination history. So no matter how many doses you have had, for example, your vaccination certificate may show that you only have 1 dose of a 2-dose vaccine. So if your vaccination certificate does not prove that you meet the Australian definition of fully vaccinated, you cannot use it for living or entering Australia. And if you were vaccinated in Australia, your vaccinations are automatically registered in the Australia Immunization Register, which is called AIR. Then you will be eligible to access your certificate. So for further information and your eligibility, I have put the website link for your reference too. And just be mindful, please actually contact your education provider and airline to discuss your travel plans. And also you can contact the IDP onshore and offshore offices and check your visa eligibility and conditions with our IDP migration agents, because you may plan to come back to Australia in the future. So just want to make sure that you comply with the visa conditions and seek for some professional advice from our MARA, registered migration agent, for the future visa arrangement. Okay, so the next slide that I'm going to talk about is the COVID-19 state restriction updates. So there are two updates. The first update is that the travelers returning to Australia may only enter and travel between New South Wales, Victoria, and the ACT without quarantining. But as of today's announcement, from 15th of December, fully vaccinated eligible visa holders can travel to Australia without needing to apply for a travel exemption. And our senior migration agent, Alice, will explain more about which visa holders are eligible to travel in the next session. And the second update is that as of 27th of November this year, in the last 14 days, any other travelers who have been in these countries listed on the presentation, for example, like South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, or Malawi, those kind of countries are not actually permitted to enter Australia, even if they hold a travel exemption, eligible visa, or are seeking to enter under a safe travel Zoom arrangement. So the quarantine requirements in Australia are determined by state and territory governments. Travelers to Australia need to comply with the quarantine requirements in their state or territory of their arrival. So just a reminder, please follow the government's rule because it has the same legal force as the law. So please stay at home to complete your quarantine requirement, as they may visit your home and check when you arrive and if you are at home. So if you don't actually comply with the requirement, they conserve the right to charge the penalty and have the impact on your visa. The state restriction information often updates on a quick, regular basis, depends on the rapid change COVID-19 situation. So restrictions may change at a short notice. So if you wish to travel to another state or territory, please click the specific local information below, like the local department below, through the website link, which is www.australia.gov.au/states. Or you can actually check with your education providers in terms of the study arrangement and learning module, which our colleague also will explain to you later. Or you can actually check with your onshore and office counselors for your further information. So the next slide I'm going to talk about is what you can pack and expect when you're planning to come back to Australia. So I have listed some of the steps which can help you to prepare for you to return to Australia. And please use this checklist to ensure you have all the relevant information and documents required. Also plan ahead and please read carefully on the website to ensure that you have a safe and smooth journey and transit back to our Australian community. So the first step is that you need to prepare your passport and a valid visa for eligible visa holders. So for the eligible visa holder, like I said before, Alice will also mention it before in the next few slides. And the second step is a hard copy or an electronic copy of your vaccination certificate. So this actually including a fully vaccinated foreign vaccination certificate or international COVID-19 vaccination certificate, which is ICVC, which I mentioned it before. So you need to ensure your vaccination certificate meets Australians' requirements. And the third step is to complete an Australia travel declaration at least 72 hours before your flight. I also put the website link for you to fill in those information. You can also download the free mobile app in Apple Store or Android, or like I said before, complete on the form online by using your computer. If you fail to comply with the requirement, you may have a heavy penalty. And the fourth step is to undertake a pre-departure COVID-19 test within 3 days before your flight and present a negative COVID-19 PCR test result. However, I saw some of the inquiries in the Q&A as well to see whether you need to reschedule the flight. So if your flight is rescheduled or cancelled, you will need to provide evidence of a negative COVID-19 PCR test taken no more than 3 days before the rescheduled flight. But if your flight is delayed, you will still be considered to have met the pre-departure testing requirements. So that means you still not need to take a new test if your flight is delayed. And the fifth step is that, so you just need to show the verified vaccination certificate at the airport. Okay, so the next slide, I'm going to still continue to talk about. It's just the information that you should be mindful for. So just be mindful that international students arriving in New South Wales, Victoria, ACT, who are fully vaccinated and have been in any overseas countries must get a COVID-19 PCR, which is the nose and throat test, and self-isolated at their accommodation or place of residence for at least 72 hours. So not following the rules is a criminal offense and attracts heavy penalties. And this is information updated as for now. We are quite hopeful that the information will stay the same, but if it changes, we will keep you updated. So please follow our social media and also the government website for the latest updates. And the next, that's the last slide for me. So this is the general list. So in terms of what to bring, I have put a general list on it. Because of the limited time, I will not explain it one by one. But for more information about the presentation, or also like the, if you want to know more about the preparation as well, to travel to Australia from overseas, please just check with our offshore offices and follow the government rules and law. So our IDP offshore offices are also going to launch the pre-departure sections soon, and they will be able to provide more detailed information for the pre-departure. And meanwhile, our IDP onshore team also prepare a welcome pack to help you settle down in Australia. So once you arrive in Australia, you will be able to access to it. So for more welcome pack information and students' welcome day events, my colleagues will explain in the next few sections. So that's pretty much for me. Thanks. Over to you, Amrita.
Thank you so much, Summer, for the detailed information. I hope it's helpful to our students. Now we know that Australian states are about to touch 90% of the vaccination rate, which means that you're going to come in a safe environment. Like Summer mentioned, they went to the cherry picking event. They didn't have to wear the mask. They were students. It was a physical event. So that was so hopeful. And once you arrive, we hope that we have more events to welcome you. And in terms of requirement, there are a few requirements as Summer explained. So make sure you have all those documents ready. And this, as the situation evolves, we will let you know about the latest updates through our social media channels. So please stay tuned. Now moving on to the important part, as we all know that government has supported our international students with some extra post-study work visa. There are some changes happened over there. I will hand it over to our migration expert, Alice, who will walk us through with latest changes. Alice, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amrita. Good day, everyone. It is very nice to be here with you today. My name is Alice Guan. I am a senior migration agent in IDP Melbourne office. My specialization including temporary and permanent skilled visas, state nomination, skills assessment, employer-sponsored visa, business visas, family migration, resident return visa, Australian citizenship application, etc. I came to Australia 18 years ago as an international student myself, so I understand how important it is for international students and temporary visa holders to receive the right help at the right time. I am passionate about working at IDP Australia, a global leader in connecting international students to academic, career, and life success. So now let's talk about eligible visa holders to travel. So as for now, the policy stays the same. From 15th of December 2021, fully vaccinated eligible visa holders can travel to Australia without needing to apply for a travel exemption. This include eligible visa holders in Australia seeking to depart and return. To be considered an eligible visa holder, you must hold one of the following visas. If you have applied for a visa but it has not yet been granted, you are not an eligible visa holder. This is very important. So eligible visas, including the student visa, guardian visa, working holiday visa, temporary graduate visa, and etc. For the full list eligible visas, please see the link in the middle. Let's go to the next slides. So for the students in Australia, most students do some amount of paid work while studying. It is important to be aware of some specific rules that may affect you if you will be working while on a student visa. It can be challenging to find work, and it is important to think about how you balance work and study. Remember to give yourself time to enjoy being a student and getting involved in a student life. If you decide to work, you should check your eligibility, getting an Australian tax file number, read about your rights and responsibilities, and comply with your visa conditions while working in Australia. Student visa carries a condition 8105. Visa holders must not engage in any work in Australia before the commencement of study. Visa holders must not engage in any work in Australia for more than 40 hours of a fortnight during any fortnight when the holder's course, study, or training is in session. A fortnight means a consecutive day period of 14 days commencing on Monday. However, you can work full-time when the work is specific as a requirement of your course, when the course particulars were entered in Crackle system. Your study of a master degree by research or doctorate degree has commenced, and your visa is granted based on such study. Let's go to the next page. So there are some temporary relaxation of work hours for student visa holders. Due to exceptional circumstances due to the COVID-19 pandemic and need to ensure the supply of critical services, the Department of Home Affairs and the Australian Border Force will take a flexible approach to student visa holders working beyond their usual work limitations, but only in specific industries. You can work for more than 40 hours a fortnight if you are working for an aged care approved provider or Commonwealth funded aged care service provider with a REC ID or NEXT ID, including if you are engaged by a labor hire company or recruitment agency. You can work for a registered national disability insurance scheme provider, including if you are engaged by a labor care company or recruitment agency. You enroll in a healthcare related course and you are supporting the health effort against COVID-19 as directed by health officials. You're working in agriculture sector, or you're working in the tourism and hospitality sector, or you're working in a supermarket or associated distribution facility located in an area impacted by COVID-19 lockdown restrictions for duration of the lockdown. Next, I'm talk about temporary graduate visa subclass 485. So the temporary graduate subclass 485 is a work visa for international students who have completed at least 2 years of study in Australia. It can last from between 18 months and 4 years, depending on your situation. It is a good way to extend your stay in Australia to improve your chances of being eligible for a permanent or provisional skilled visa. The primary applicants usually need to be in Australia when they make their application for a 45 visa and must have held an eligible student visa within 6 months period prior to the visa lodgement. Due to the pandemic, the department has revised the regulation to allow the applicant outside Australia to make a valid 485 application. Under the old rule, both the bachelor degree, including honors, and the master degree by coursework enable a graduate to apply for a 2-year 485 visa. For the master degree by research, the visa lasts for 3 years, and for the doctor degree, it lasts for 4 years. A joint media release from the Minister of Immigration and the Minister of Education on 25th of November 2021 has highlighted important change on 485 visa. So the latest change are the master by coursework graduates are now eligible for a 3-year 485 visa and the post-study work stream. The vet graduates are eligible for a 2-year 485 via the graduate work stream during the COVID concession period, which starts from the 1st of December 2021. Requirement for graduates to nominate an occupation from the skills occupation list from graduate work stream will be removed from the 1st of July 2022. And the last part, if you are satisfying the following, so first, your 485 expired on or after 1st of February 2020. Second, you are offshore and unable to travel to Australia due to COVID. And the third, you have been outside Australia for any of the period between 1st of February 2020 and the 1st of December 2021. Then you are eligible to reapply for a replacement visa, which with the same duration as their original 485 visa from the 1st of July 2022. That's all the update from me today, and I'm hand over to Amrita.
Thank you so much, Alice, for the latest information. So now we know what are the latest changes happened with the visa. You can certainly apply once you're onshore. Again, get in touch with our IDP Mara team, and they will be help you with your post-study visa extension. Also, now you're aware about your work rights. There are certain streams where you can work full-time, and the remaining streams you have to stick with the working clause, which is 40 hours fortnightly. Again, if you're not sure, get in touch with IDP team, and we will be able to support you with the right information. Now I will hand it over to our colleague Catherine, who will help and support you with the health insurance information and a little bit about the accommodation information, so that before you arrive, you know where to access these resources. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Amrita. Hi, everyone, and how exciting that we will start to be welcoming you back to Australia very, very soon. I think all of us are extremely excited. So here at part of the Student Essentials, we are here to offer you services and advice with regards to your health insurance requirements. We can also assist you with accommodation, banking transfers, or money transfer, I should say, and bank account set up for here in Australia. If you could go to the next slide, please. From an insurance perspective and health insurance perspective, all of our IDP counsellors, both onshore and offshore, are able to assist you in purchasing this as part of your visa requirement. And just to recap for those that aren't aware, what your overseas health insurance will cover is not only part of your visa requirement, but it will cover you to go and see a doctor once you are here onshore and have a general consultation. It will provide coverage in both a public and private hospital, public being the more accessible because they are everywhere around the country, and each of the insurance providers that you can see on our screen has agreements with private hospitals throughout the country. Students will also be covered for emergency room fees. So if you do have an accident or you do require emergency medical attention, not only is your ambulance transport covered, but going to the emergency room is also covered. You will also have coverage of a minimum amount of 85% there, as mentioned on the screen, for items such as blood tests or x-rays that you may require as part of your illness once you are here. And COVID-19 testing. Now this is covered, and on the next slide, which we don't need to go to just yet, is a couple of links to where you can actually go and receive your testing and by state. And so there are a couple for international students where you would be required to go to particular areas to ensure that they bulk bill the government for those testings. You will see below, there were a couple of hotline numbers on that previous screen for each of the funds. So for those that are onshore and you are aware of your health insurance provider, you can contact them. There is also the COVID-19 health information line as well. You can go to the next screen. With regards to health and wellbeing, each of the health insurance providers, as you can see, actually has a fantastic COVID-19 FAQ site, but also has their own health and wellbeing sites as well. They have amazing articles to help guide you through living in Australia or a particular site. They have some great health tips as well. So you are free to look at those sites whenever you are available to. And then on the other side of the screen are three of the most popular health and wellbeing organisations that we have here in Australia. They are free hotlines, so if you would like to have any counselling or additional services, you are free to use these as well. While we are on the health insurance side, I will just flag, because a lot of you have been offshore and haven't been able to come to Australia, I know there might be some questions around changing of dates or refunds or those types of things. So I will just mention very high level, when you do arrive in Australia, do keep your boarding pass. Your health insurance provider would require this in order to action any refund or change in your dates. So please do hold on to that and make sure that you have that, and visit your health insurance. Most now have an app or an online service that will guide you through the refund or changing of date process, but you will require that supporting documentation. So do please keep your boarding pass. Next slide. So on here are two really important websites that you can see as an overview. And I know that someone mentioned the one on the left earlier, which is a state-by-state guide in regards to COVID-19 and the arrival plans for each state, which has got some fantastic links and specific to your state, as not all states are open at this particular stage. So it's really important that you click on that link for the state that you're intending on travelling to, be it Perth or Canberra, Sydney or Adelaide, for example. And then on the right of the screen is the link for the COVID-19 testing and treatment. So for each state, when you click on these links, you will find a detailed listing of where the testing centres are, where you can go for assistance with regards to treatment for COVID-19. Some states have particular hospitals that are set up that include testing and treatment. So it's really important that you keep an eye on that particular link and ensure that you visit that whenever you have any questions. Next slide, please. With regards to accommodation, both our onshore and offshore IDP officers, all of our counsellors are able to assist you with organising your accommodation. And these are all of our accommodation providers and partners here in Australia. So you can see that we have a wide variety of availability. Different room types are available, whether you would look at a single room, shared accommodation, but you are able to, I should say, visit and have a chat with a counsellor, and they will be able to assist you and take you through some of the most recent promotions that we have with some of the providers to welcome you all back here to Australia. Some are also offering quarantining as well as part of their packages. So you are welcome to have a chat with your counsellor and they will be able to assist you a little bit further. Absolutely. So here are the key details around some of those providers, and you can see some locations that they are particularly located in, and also some pricing, what's included in the rent, which is fantastic, so that you can see what benefits and value adds that each of these accommodation providers can provide to you, and the main features, but also the contract length. And that's something that's important when you're looking at some of these accommodation providers. But again, I will stress that it is really important to have a chat with your counsellor, as they also will be able to take you through potential promotions and welcome back to Australia promotions that each of these particular providers have going at the moment.
All right. Thank you so much, Catherine. Now our students know where to access the health insurance information. Again, we do have dedicated team offshore and onshore. You don't have to stress out. If there is any support you need in terms of your health insurance, renewal, how to claim, just contact IDP, and we also support you with accommodation options. Again, don't need to worry about anything. Just get in touch with IDP team. Now I will hand it over to my colleague. We are going towards the end of our presentation before we jump to Q&A. Hand it over to Neetu, who will talk a bit about the teaching methods and career support, which we provide here to our onshore students. Neetu, over to you.
Thank you so much, Amrita. Hi, everyone. My name is Neetu, and I'm an education expert from Sydney and Parramatta offices. First of all, I welcome you all to Australia, and well done to those students who have been already studying online and now getting an opportunity actually to travel and come to Australia to continue their further studies on campus. Well done to you guys on studying and adapting the online study method. It's excited to see you. The team has presented quite a lot of valuable information, and I'm going to give you some more information about the teaching methods during the current situation. So for the semester 1 2022, most of the universities would be offering a blended mode of study for the students who are onshore. And if there is no lockdown situation in future, hopefully, we expect that, like obviously your studies would continue on blended method. What does blended method means? That most of the lectures actually would be delivered on campus with the tutorial, and some of the lectures may go online as well. So you are expected to study that pattern of study. But some of the programs which require you to have a practical component of learning would be required to study on campus actually. And some of the programs which has a need of any clinical placements or any other placements at a different location, you would be required to go to those different locations. So yeah, I can tell that being in Sydney, we feel pretty safe at the moment, already preparing for the Christmas celebrations. Summer is here already. So yeah, welcome you all with this all. So if we talk about your studies, like you need to actually go for the orientation sessions. Please keep an eye for the orientation sessions you would be having from your university. You would be getting emails from the university about that. Please stay connected with the Student Central. Many of the students are not able to find some of the information that where do we go and claim for the OSHC if they have already booked it from the university. So Student Central is the first place at your university who would be able to guide you on that. Not only that, if you have any technical troubles in terms of enrolling online, Student Central is the first place to get connected with, and they would actually get you connected with the faculty or the associated student team. Ask as many questions as you can. I can tell you, you don't hesitate on asking, because the more you ask, the more you know, and that would make your life more easier as a student here. Take advantage of all the student support services and additional tutorials, which many of the students think, yeah, tutorials might not be helpful or so, but no, they are really, really a good revision of your studies for the lectures you have attended, so they give you a better understanding about that. Create your own timetable and break down your tasks. Again, take notes, stay healthy. That's the most important thing, and keep on your mental health well-being. Please speak to someone. You have a lot of resources in Australia to talk about your mental health. If you feel you're getting depressed, you have any academic issues, please speak out about that. Your university, IDP itself, and your health insurance providers, they all have this assistance to provide to you. Thank you. Next slide, please, Kath. Working in Australia. So if we talk about the first-hand experience in Australia, at the moment, I can tell that Australia is seeking a shortage in many of the areas like hospitality, retail, medical, and other food production and associated industries. So you'll be very much be able to secure a part-time job once you are in Australia. So that's one of the things I would say. Other than that, there are some career job sites like Seek, Career One, Job Search, Jira, Indeed, and Gumtree as well sometimes. So I would say that you can actually go to these job sites and then can look for the suitable jobs if you have pre-work experience as well back home. There are quite a lot of social media groups on Facebook for each of the suburbs. I can tell quite a lot of groups, and there are sometimes part-time jobs listed there, recruitment forms, and notice boards on your uni campus, malls, community centers, and local supermarkets. Internships are actually a very wonderful way to gain the hands-on experience when it comes to the study you are taking. Let's say if you're talking about IT, if you are coming to study in Australia for an IT course, I would actually advise you to start looking for a job in the IT sector, maybe after you have completed your first or second semester. How it will help you? It would actually help you to gain, to meet the requirements when you go on your post-study work visa. So with that, basically, you can actually go to IDP Australia blog, where we have quite a lot of job opportunities. Can you please go to the next slide, Kath? Thank you. Yes, one of the most excited and wonderful news I can't wait to share with you all. We've recently launched virtual international internship program for our students. Very invaluable, I would say, for the students who are looking forward to seek the work experience in the nominated area of your study. This program would actually give you a 12 weeks internship. And as you see the points, it increases your chances of employability and work visa options, guaranteed internship placements to all the students. Internships would be remote, so there is no place restraint about that. So you don't need to worry about the visas and travel bans. If you happen to go back to your home country as well, you still can carry on. All you need just yourself and your laptop. You have access to 5,000 plus host companies with over 70 countries globally. And direct access to virtual internships, award-winning Career Bridge curriculum. With that, dedicated internship coach to keep you on track with your goals. And global work experience from the comfort of your own home, working 10 hours, 20, 30 or per week, maybe 1 to 4 months. Here is a link for IDP's virtual internship, international internship program. I tell you a little more about that, how it can help you. So many of the students we see here, after they have completed the studies or when they are into the last semesters, some of the students need to have this internship while they are studying because it can be a requirement of the program, but many of them need to actually prepare for it because you further want to have secure your 1-year work experience being on your post-study work visa. So if you decide to take this virtual internship being on your summer holidays or so, it'll be good actually. It would actually take you further preparing for your post-study work visa and having a job as soon as you go on full-time work rights. Quite a lot of state nominations in regional Australia and overall, if I talk about NSW-based nominations as well, they require the applicants to have the work experience, or they want the people actually to have a job offer, or they have already started working into the related nominated sector. It doesn't happen if you do not have any work experience in Australia, but through this virtual internship program, you would have that 12 weeks work experience, which would also create a pool of references for you and would take you further getting confident and getting a job here, being on your post-study work visa. And obviously with the special advantage now having master's, 3 years post-study work visa for master's graduates, basically, it would help you more in terms of obtaining up to 10 points if you end up working for 3 years on your post-study work visa. So you see how beneficial it is. I would advise you to connect with us to get more information on the virtual internship program. Next slide, please, Kath. Okay, online shopping in Australia, it's quite reachable for everyone. I would say like in 1 to 2 kilometers zone, every suburb has at least one of the supermarkets. Other than that, there are quite a lot others as well. So you can actually opt for online shopping as well as can go in person to shop for. And during the lockdowns as well, the supermarkets were actually open all the time. Other than that, Uber Eats, DoorDash, there are some online famous apps for the food delivery. Next slide, Kath. Pharmacy in Australia. So there are a couple of links for the famous pharmacies. Quite a lot of other pharmacies are also there. So medical support is available to the students. Like for health is very important, I can say, here in Australia, regardless you are a local here or you are an international student. And students have actually felt they have been very well looked after during the pandemic period as well. So if you want to book an appointment, here is a link for you to book an appointment across Australia anywhere. But yeah, like if you Google, definitely a GP is there within your 2 kilometers zone, basically. So as I said, that medical services are very much in reach. And there is a, sorry, Kath, can you go back, please? Yeah, coronavirus health information line. So you can anytime liaise on this. This number is actually 24 hours activated. Yeah, thanks, Kath. Next one. Okay, so we will be having an IDP welcome pack. I encourage all of you to go in person to our local offices, whichever state you go to, and collect your IDP welcome pack. There would be an optional SIM pack in there and multivitamins pack to boost your immunity, IDP migration and support services. So if you collect this pack, you would be able to obtain a 20% discount on the future migration services offered by IDP Australia team. A loyalty scholarship voucher of worth $500 if you need to take admission in a future course and then you opt to go with IDP, so you'd be eligible for that. Sanitizer, face masks, some groceries, gift card, and onshore team details, which is invaluable. So yeah, please do come to IDP office once you are in Australia and collect your welcome pack. Thanks. Next slide, please. IDP Live app. We've got IDP Live app, which is not just a tracker for your applications. You might have you might have this app. Please keep this app with you all the time when you are in Australia. You would be able to know what all is happening at your local office in IDP. We have quite a lot of information sessions, quite a lot of migration sessions, as well as quite a lot of events happening in our offices or virtually. So having this app handy with you would actually be an accessibility to our events, basically. Thank you. Next slide, please. Our upcoming events, very excited. IDP celebrates a lot actually onshore. We do kind of celebrate all the multicultures events we have for the student summer festivals. For example, Lunar New Year, Diwali, and many others actually. Yeah, next one, please. Welcome Day event for all of you once you are all in Australia, settled down, and yeah, we'll be celebrating our Welcome Day. You can actually go to IDP link, this link given here, and would be able to register for this event once we've organized it. And yeah, stay tuned with us to get more information through IDP Live app. Events and activities for IDP students. So we usually host education and migration expos, in-house interview sessions with different institutions in different states where you are able to get to know more about the future courses, visa and migration seminars, giving you more information on ever-changing requirements for post-study work visas or migration policies, career-related support information to our students. Also with that, we do have the trips, one-day trips for our students like Blue Mountain trip, cherry picking, apple picking, Floriad Festival, movie nights for our students. Quite a lot actually. I won't be able to say, maybe there's all. And we've got cultural celebrations, as I mentioned, Lunar New Year, Diwali, Water Festival, etc. Other than that, for our students, English proficiency skills improvement, which you need to improve as you go further, as in to meet the requirements for future migration options, is the IELTS Masterclass. We do offer IELTS Masterclass regularly and do have the test as well. So yeah, please stay tuned with us. And often we do have Facebook Lives for the visa updates or any migration policies around, changing around. Next one, please. Yeah, here are some of the pictures for the barbecue ketchup for Melbourne office, Expo in Sydney office, and Lunar New Year. I can tell a visit to a zoo and some of the activities, and the famous movie night, which I think apparently happened in Sydney and Melbourne, was a very famous one. Thanks, Kath. Next slide, please. Yep. Here are the links for our virtual counseling. So we are virtually available for you to connect with us between 10 to 5. If you scan any of these QR codes, you are able to connect with us between Monday to Friday. Other than that, we have in-house like a walk-in. Obviously, you can walk in any time between these hours if you need us. And a phone counseling is also available. So you just need to give us a call and book a counseling over the phone as well. And we would be calling you back on the particular nominated time. Thank you, Kath. Next one, please. Here are some of the contact details. So booking counseling appointment online, can follow this link online and can book an appointment with us. And here is the contact information for each of the offices. You can connect with us through these contact numbers or this email as well. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. Last but not the least, follow us on social media to stay connected with IDP and to know more on what's happening at IDP Australia for you. That's all from me. Thank you so much. I give it back to Amrita. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Neetu. Talking about internship and all the latest details. Again, for students' reference, we do help with internship once you arrive onshore. And if you need any information related to your career support, you're applying for post-study work visa, just get in touch and we will give you more information. And obviously your welcome pack is awaiting here. That's all packed, available to your local IDP onshore offices. So once you arrive, I can see in Q&A some of the students ask, is the welcome pack free? Yes, because you're an IDP student. Yes, it's free for you to support you to settle down in the destination. On this page, you can see our Facebook page link. You can see Instagram, WeChat. So please do follow us on these links. Also follow our IDP offshore offices for latest updates. We will be updating any sort of visa regulation, travel updates, everything will be available on our Facebook page. We run regular webinars, seminars for our international students. So you'll have all the up-to-date information related to Australia and New Zealand. Just follow us on Facebook page. And as Neetu mentioned, make sure that you download the app offshore. And when you arrive onshore, keep that app active because we will be sending a lot of information through that app. So you don't have to go through different links on different websites, immigration link and other websites. You can get all the information through our IDP Live app. So keep that updated, keep that app on your phone. Now moving on to the last slide, before we jump onto Q&A, now we have created a dedicated landing page for you to learn about latest updates, travel information, because we know it changes quite frequently. In the last section of the slide, you can see that link, return of international students to Australia. You can access this link on our IDP Australia website /return of international students. You will find all the FAQs related to COVID, travel, visa regulation over there. And interestingly, we have also prepared a detailed city guide for all of you, so you can have the important information before you come here. From how to travel within the city, where you go out for eating, to popular places to visit, how to manage public transport, how to rent a property, where to buy a car, where to sell a scooter, all those nitty-gritties we have taken care, and we prepared a dedicated guide for Sydney, Melbourne, all our states. All you need to do is go into this link, and there will be a section download city guide. Just download that guide and go through the information. You will be all prepared to come here with the information which you required pre-hand. Now that's with the city guide. Now there is a sneak peek as well on our IDP onshore services. I request Kat to just play the video for us. So that's our Sydney office and our counselors in that video.
What I love about Sydney the most is the community in Sydney is very inclusive and diverse.
One of the main things for me is definitely how close the city is to the beaches, to the mountains for hiking.
Sydney's lifestyle is amazing. I love traveling to city for my work.
If you're thinking about going abroad, just go for it. It'll be the best experience you can have.
What you are going to embark on is going to be one of the most rewarding and exciting journey in your life.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kath. Moving on to the next one. So you have seen a little sneak peek of our Sydney counselor and Sydney team. We have prepared proper guides for all the cities to access for you. Again, go to the link, and we are in this together with all our international students. I would like to thank you everyone for joining this webinar. Please stay in touch, share, talk. We are getting into the summer season here, and once you arrive in December and January, you will see that city vibes. Whole cities are decorated with Christmas and New Year celebrations. So just come and enjoy the destination. Australia is a beautiful place to be, to learn, to grow, to travel, to make new contacts, to explore, and to stay curious. So come with that fresh perspective. Now we jump onto the Q&A before we close this session. Okay, so I'll just start asking the questions. We might not be able to answer all the questions because of the time constraint, but I assure you, we will get back to you with all the FAQs on our landing page as well with some of the questions, or if you leave your contact details, we will get in touch with you next week. Okay, to Alice, can we buy a one-way ticket, or do we need to buy an open return flight ticket to travel to Australia? Alice, will you have some information on that part?
There is no requirement for the student have to buy the return ticket. They can buy the one-way ticket, or if they want to save the money, they can buy return. It's all fine with Australian government.
Amazing. So hopefully it's clear to you now. Alice, another question. Are quarantine regulation different in each state? If I fly to Melbourne but transit in Sydney, where should I do quarantine?
So the quarantine restrictions are determined by the state of your destination. So if your final destination is not Victoria, New South Wales, and the ACT, you need to follow your destination's requirement. If the destination requirement require you to hotel quarantine for 14 days, then you will need to be required to quarantine.
Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Again, if you have any follow-up question, just let us know. But this is the latest requirement. Again, with the quarantine part, we will keep you posted. After 15th of December, if there is any changes, we will let you know. Sorry, Alice, I'm going to ask another question as well, because there are quite a few questions around working and quarantine. Can you please share an idea on how to manage study hours with work hours? Study hours with work hours. I think it's just that how you manage your whole timetable. In terms of working hours, you get certain hours to work fortnightly. So once you finish your morning lectures, you can work in the evening, or if you have evening classes, you can work in the morning. So it really depends upon your timetable. You will, once you have your timetable, then you can just arrange your working hours accordingly. Okay. Do we book accommodation and flights before applying for visa or after? I can answer that question. In terms of accommodation and flights, that can be booked afterwards. We suggest to apply for visa, make an application, get into the university admission, apply for visa, and once the visa is processed, then you can look into the flight and accommodation options. Again, our IDP offshore and onshore team can support you with that part. You don't have to manage that whole part by yourself. Okay, how long is the wait time for 485 visa to be granted? I applied for it by October of this year. Alice, is there any time frame? How long will it take for 485 visa to be granted?
The current guideline is different between the post-study work stream and graduate work stream. So for the graduate work stream, the current guideline is 17 to 19 months. For the post-study work stream, the guideline is 9 to 14 months.
Okay. 9 to 14 months. So hope that answer your question. Then Alice, there's another question. Does the student paid or unpaid for the virtual international internship program? Does the student paid or unpaid? Most of the internships are unpaid. However, once you finish your initial internship, if the employer employ you, then it'll be paid work experience. However, the internships are really to get you into the industry. So they are usually unpaid, the initial projects. Okay, is the hours done in the virtual internship, international internship counted under the allowed 40 hours fortnightly? Alice, with the virtual internship, will that be counted towards 40 hours fortnightly?
If the student are physically in Australia and the work is paid, then it will count. If it's not paid, and may count it as volunteer, so it won't count. Okay. If you are not in Australia, then the student visa condition cannot restrict you.
Amazing. So again, to answer your question, if it's an internship unpaid, you don't need to worry. But if it's paid and you're going there physically, then it will be counted towards your 40 hours fortnightly. Again, if you're not sure, get in touch with our IDP onshore team once you arrive on shore. Student is asking, I am in Philippines, already had both my vaccination, wonderful. If I were to leave Australia between February to April, do I need to take a booster shot? I guess at this stage, there is no compulsion. They just asked, our Australian government is asking for approved vaccination, not really the booster shots, but we will get more information as the situation evolves. So I suggest when you're about to book your flight, you can get in touch with IDP offshore offices and we will give you the latest information. At this stage, booster shots are not mandatory. Okay. Maybe to Alice, how does it mean if we are in regional area Adelaide, we are eligible for 4 years of post-study work visa if we complete masters by coursework?
So the 485 post-study work stream, the initial grant is always according to the validity of a original. So the current master by coursework has been extended for 3 years. So the first of 485 grant will always be 3 years. And the second application for regional student you will need to satisfy the second application requirement. If you can satisfy, then there will be additional 485 granted.
Amazing. Okay, so there are 2 categories, 3 years and 4 years one, depend upon your location, but you will certainly be eligible for post-study work visa.
Just to be clear, for the regional student, if they want to get the extra 1 to 2 years, they need to make the application. The 485 is not automatically granted with additional years for regional students.
Sure. So for further extension, for further extending post-study work visa to be in regional, you do need to apply for the file. Yeah, Alice? Okay, amazing. We have this question on overseas health cover. Maybe Catherine can. Hi, the latest information is I've got an invitation from Australian University before I apply for student visa and overseas health cover. Did the regulation change? The latest information is I have to get an invitation from Australian University before I apply for student visa and overseas health cover. I think in this case, at this stage, after 15th of December, travel is open to all international students. You don't have to get the invitation. However, stay tuned. After 15th of December, we will have latest information. We will let you know. Oh, this is a very sweet question. Maybe I'll ask to Summer. What kind of charging or switch that is available in Australia? Because in my country, it is the cord that got 2 holes that is used.
Yeah, so in Australia, we actually do have 3 holes as well. So I actually recommend you to check online, and then for the safety reason. So depending on the the regulation as well. Yeah, so just maybe better to check online and then to see the requirement in Australia as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Summer, next question. About the 3 days, 72 hours quarantine for those who arrived, can we choose our own type of accommodation on ourselves?
So there are two types of accommodation. So one is that you can actually arrange your own accommodation, or you can contact your education provider as well if they are willing to provide you the quarantine accommodation. So please check with your education provider as well to see whether they have the the availability for you to provide for the accommodation. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So the quarantine cost will be taken care by student or university. So it really depends at this stage because government said that you do have to do self-quarantine for 72 hours. So it is taken care by student. However, I suggest contact your university after 15th of December and check if they do provide any sort of support with accommodation. Is the virtual internship limited? I mean, graphic design student, can I apply for it? Certainly you can apply for it. With virtual internship, there are so many options in different streams, from engineering to IT to architecture to construction. Again, graphic design is one of the growing profession, and virtual internship do offer internship in that area. So again, get in touch and we will be able to help you with more information and application. Or should we wait? Okay, maybe I'll ask to Summer or Catherine. Would you recommend us arranging a long-term accommodation prior to coming to Australia, or should we wait until we are onshore before arranging the accommodation? What do you suggest, Kath?
I would put that on what suits you. So our counsellors have access to some accommodation providers that offer both long-term and short-term facilities. So it just depends on where you would like to stay and the access to that particular accommodation. You might want to look at staying for 12 months in one particular place until you find out and get a feel for the area that you're staying and studying, of which you then might be able to find a longer term accommodation facility. However, I say discuss that with your counsellor. They will take you through the options that are available, but it really does depend on you as a student and what you would like.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kat. Hope that answer is helpful to you. Next question, maybe I'll just ask to Alice. What happens if we enter to the country 2 to 3 months earlier than the course start date? Would I be asked to return to home country?
Usually the department recommend to enter the country 1 to 2 months prior to the course depart, the course commencement.
Okay.
Please make sure the student visa is valid and there is no condition barred you from enter earlier.
Amazing, thank you. So again, check your visa condition, get in touch with offshore offices before you book your flight. Maybe I'll ask to Catherine on this question. Upon arrival to Melbourne, where do I go to get the PCR test, and do I need to pay for it?
So on the slide pack, there is some government sites. If you click on Victoria, and within there, they will document all of the testing sites for Victoria. You can locate that by suburb and postcode. So for example, if you are in Melbourne City, and they will detail the exact sites for testing. If you need to find a hospital, for example, you can also do that through that site, or you can do that through that health insurance, through your health insurance provider. They also detail where to find a hospital as well. The testing as such, if you go to one of the government laboratory testing sites, it is bulk billed to the government as part of the COVID-19 rollout. So no, there will be no costs for those testings. However, if you go to a private laboratory, you may find some testing or charges applicable. So please do check that website.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kath. Again, these slides and these links will be available on our Facebook page, and we will also upload this information on our website. So if you don't have a Facebook account, because I can see one of the students said they don't have Facebook account, don't worry, just go to IDP Australia website following week, and we will upload all this information there as well for your reference. Someone asked, what are the approved vaccines? Again, we have covered that in our initial slides. So we will upload this information on our IDP Australia website and Facebook page, and you can go through that information over there. All the approved vaccines are given in our slide information. Would like to clarify, is 40 hours a fortnight the same as 20 hours per week? Alice, that's correct?
So that's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So 40 hours per fortnight starts from a Monday. So that applies to every 2 weeks or any 2 weeks. So for example, week 1, you work 25 hours. Week 2, you work 15 hours. And week 3, you'll work 30 hours. And week 4, you work 10 hours. This is violating of the requirement because week 2 plus week 3 is more than 40 hours. So you need to make sure if the department pick any 2 weeks, it's not more than 40 hours during the study period.
Okay. Hope that is helpful to you. Again, with the working hours we have covered in our slides, so you can go through that information again. Summer, over to you. Do we need to test for COVID-19 again once I am in Melbourne? The last time I checked, I need to take COVID test 3 to 5 days after my arrival.
Yeah, and also the student need to do twice. So one is that they arrive in Melbourne, and then the second one is that they need to do within 5 to 7 days. So this they have to do another test as well. Yeah, but for further information, please feel free to check on the government website because they may update in a very short notice. So please stay tuned on the website for the further update. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sama, just a following question, is vaccination certificate still required though I already have my vaccination card?
Depends because the information is also covered on the previous presentation for what kind of requirement that Australia government actually approved when you come to Australia. So please feel free to review those information on the presentation, and then there's a website over there as well for your information. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Samal. And then hello, after we arrive in Australia, will we be allowed to take our booster shots there? Definitely. That is also available to our international students. So you don't have to worry. Again, use your health insurance policy, contact your local GP, and they will guide you further. Can we get our grocery and SIM card with the necessary stuff within 72 hours that we arrive? Definitely. All you need to do is call us or let us know, and we will be able to give you that information and welcome back once you arrive on shore. You don't have to wait long for that part. I have a family in Australia. Can I quarantine in that house? Definitely. At this stage, it says self-quarantine, but again, we will wait for further information after 15th of December. So stay tuned, but it's a self-quarantine. You can definitely quarantine at your family house.
Just add one more point for this one. If anyone residing together in the family course, all of the resident need to quarantine for 72 hours as well.
Okay, so noted that part. We have quite a few questions. I think I'll take couple more, but then the questions we haven't answered yet. Don't worry, we will definitely get back to you, or we will add FAQs on our landing page so you have the information up there. Okay. If I'm going to study at Brisbane, but I want to go to Sydney first on December 17 and stay there for 2 weeks and then go to Brisbane, is it a wise decision? Alice, what do you think? You're on mute.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so I'm going to study at Brisbane, but I want to go to Sydney first on December 17 and stay there for 2 weeks and then go to Brisbane, is it a wise decision? So spend 2 weeks in Sydney.
It's not really a wise choice because the quarantine requirement is according to the state government. The Sydney currently considered as a hotspot for Queensland. So it's not really wise to quarantine in Sydney because it will not count.
Okay, thank you so much. And I will ask Sister Summer, I'll be studying in Canberra, but will have to enter via Sydney and Melbourne. Would that mean I have to self-quarantine in my entry point, then self-quarantine again in Canberra?
Yeah, so I think the question is quite similar with our previous question. Alice already answered that. Yeah. So again, it depends on the state and territory requirements, which we also put the information on the website already. So just feel free to actually check the information over there.
Yeah. Thank you. I can see quite a few of students asked on South Australia, Perth quarantine information as well. So at this stage, those states are closed. You do need to enter via ACT, NSW and Victoria. However, that information will change quite frequently. So we suggest at this stage, specifically for the Perth side, don't book the flight straight away. You do need to go to those states first to quarantine, and then from there you can go to from NSW or Victoria, you can go towards the Perth side. So get in touch with our IDP offshore offices to know more about the rules and regulation, or hang in till 15th of December and follow our IDP FAQ page, where we will be uploading all the information related to quarantine or travel. I'm going to take the last question. However, we will answer the remaining questions which we haven't able to answer today. Before the commencement of is it possible for us to travel to Australia after we got our student visa before the commencement of our classes? I think Alice has already answered this one. Alice, do you want to answer this one again? One more time to clarify.
So if the student visa already granted,
can they travel?
They can travel, but usually the department recommend that you travel only 1 to 2 months prior to the course commencement.
Amazing. Thank you so much. On that note, I would like to conclude this webinar. Again, for your questions which we haven't answered, please do share your contact details, email address. You have our Facebook page details and our details as well. You can call us, contact us, email us, and we will be able to answer your questions. Lastly, I suggest and request everyone, please stay hopeful, come with a fresh perspective, and experience this beautiful journey that our destination has to offer. Dream big, and remember, we are here to support all of you. I would also like to thank you, all the presenters and panelists, and our international students for joining us today. Thank you very much, and stay tuned with us.